Hi everybody, welcome to the basketball season recap. Eli Schultz here with Stephen Lam and Muneeb Alam. Guys, it was a roller coaster of a season for the Lions this year. Some good, strong wins and some disappointing losses. A lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, they finished with an overall record of 12-16. Conference play, they're 4-10. Actually, going into the season, they were predicted to finish third place, but they ended up finishing actually in eighth in conference play. So very disappointing, especially after they had such a great start in non-conference play.
And they actually entered conference play with the second best record among the Ivy schools. Only Harvard was better. And they had a big win over Villanova at Villanova. They almost beat Bucknell, a team that went to the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, faded a little bit down the stretch in that game. But right at the end of non-conference play, they had a loss to Elon on a buzzer beater, and that Coach Smith said was really a flashback to last year with a lot of close losses.
Yeah, that brought back maybe some unfortunate memories. Obviously, a lot of close losses for the Lions in 2011, 2012. But they did manage to get Ivy League play started on the right foot. They went up to Ithaca and got a big win over Cornell on a game televised on NBC Sports. But then they came home and unfortunately were not able to get the win against Cornell there. Then went on the road, lost back-to-back games to Penn and Princeton. And from there it was kind of tough to get back on track. After that they lost to Dartmouth.
And at home. That was the first time Dartmouth won on the road in a conference game in 4 years.
So yeah, disappointing.
That was a big shock to the Lions. But they bounced back the next day. They beat Harvard by 15 points. And that's a team that went on to the NCAA tournament and even won in the second round.
Got to the round of 32,
Yeah, so the Lions definitely had flashes of brilliance this season. And it was clear why they were chosen to finish in third place, but they just didn't perform at times when they needed to.
And it didn't help that in the middle of the season they had a lot of injuries. Brian Barber, obviously a very important part of the team, had some health issues, illness. Grant Mullins, one weekend, just couldn't go at Brown. And,
that weekend actually a lot of the team was dealing with flu-like symptoms.
Yeah, no ball handlers are really available against Brown. They did still manage to hang in that game, lost on a buzzer beater.
Yeah, but the next night they were still dealing with the same illness issues. Had a huge loss to Yale, and the next week that was followed by another huge loss to Princeton. And the middle of that season, that was a big hit for the Lions. But even with Brian Barber, struggling with the health issues, they did get a lot of support from the young freshmen.
Yeah, Maudo Low out of Germany had a huge season, especially towards the end of the season. Really was probably the Lions' best player in a lot of those games. Showed a lot of explosiveness and athleticism. Here we see some of that athleticism on display. Maudo getting the ball at the top of the key and driving it around Brown's center Kwakamensa, the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year. And
Grant Mullins throughout the year showed a lot of promise. He sort of looks like Barber next year, taking over Barber's role as the playmaker. He showed that he could shoot the ball as well, although he had a little bit of a tough time.
Yeah, I think during the middle of the season he went some 5 games without hitting a 3, which was obviously a big thing that was difficult for Lions to overcome. But he did show a lot of playmaking ability throughout the season. Good ball handler and good court vision.
What I liked about Grant too was he did have that rough stretch, but he showed a lot of resilience. They came back with that last win they had in conference play against Penn, and Grant hit some big threes in that game. He stuck with his shot. He knows he has the talent, and I think that's a great player the Lions are going to have in the future.
Here we see some of Mullins' playmaking ability on display, finding Osikowski under the basket for 2. Yeah, Lowe and Mullins definitely look like they'll be big contributors for the Lions in the backcourt moving forward. And you can throw Isaac Cohn in there also, a freshman guard who had a big year for the Lions as well.
They'll have big shoes to fill. Brian Barber, of course, graduating second-team All-Ivy this year, first-team All-Ivy last year. Dean Kowalski, another point guard, big leader on the team. Center Mark Sisko has been a great post player the last couple of years. And John Daniel has been a great rebounder, great defensive player as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Mark and John leaving, but the Lions do have a great front court coming up. They obviously have the big men in Corey Osikowski and Skylar Scrivano, both sophomores. Smith has talked about them a lot this season and said how they're starting to fill those shoes that Mark's going to leave. You also have Alex Rosenberg. He's only a sophomore. He's held a starting role almost this entire season. He started a lot of games as a freshman as well. He's really strong defensively when the Lions play zone, and he's a good shooter as well. So Rosenberg's going to play a key role in kind of keeping that Lions front court strong.
And also a couple other guys on the perimeter that will probably make big contributions for the Lions next year. Steve Frankowski, one of their best three-point shooters, a sophomore, and Miko Lyles also, who didn't play this past season but was there in the 2011-2012 average double digits. Also a great perimeter scorer, so I'm sure having him back will give the Lions a boost. But
it'll be an experienced squad, yeah.
definitely a lot to look forward to next season. So we'll see you. We'll be back next November for another season of Lions basketball. Until then, for Stephen Lau and Muneeb Alam, I'm Eli Schultz saying so long.